with the theme song that is well known to all of you by now. We go out to the other coast of the United States, out to the left coast, and Hollywood, and Michael Snyder, where he looks at movies. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Alex, and greetings, listeners, and all the ships at sea. We've got a few new films to cover, so let's just dive right in. So let's start with Ghostbusters Afterlife. And after the mediocre 2016 Ghostbusters reboot, with an all-female team of comedic actors, mostly culled from Saturday Night Live, the first thing I thought upon hearing about another Ghostbusters movie was, didn't you already screw this up? But surprise, Ghostbusters Afterlife, directed by Jason Reitman, son of original Ghostbusters director Ivan Reitman, and the guy who directed Up in the Air, among other pretty good films, strikes a very satisfying balance between an update or a reboot and a nostalgic continuance. So despite being set primarily in a small town on the plains of Oklahoma, this new mix of comedy and supernatural action connects back to 1984's Ghostbusters and 1989's Ghostbusters 2, largely based in New York, and they do it in a clever way that still moves the franchise forward. So financial problems force a single mom, played by Carrie Coon, and her children to move to her late father's ramshackle farm in that Oklahoma town, but the kids soon learn that Grandpa was more than an eccentric recluse, and soon there's a new ghost-busting foursome consisting of the siblings, a brainy 12-year-old girl played by McKenna Grace, and her slacker teenage brother played by Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things, and her nerdy fellow student played by Logan Kim, chaperoned by Paul Rudd, sexiest man in the world, according to People magazine. Anyway, Rudd plays a local middle school teacher who is also a seismologist, which is a good thing since the town is starting to be rattled by ominous earthquakes, and it ain't on a fault line. This is pretty entertaining and fun stuff as it is, which you couldn't say about the 2016 model. Do any of the original cast members show up? One of them, the great Harold Ramis, passed away in 2014. Then again, the movie is called Ghostbusters Afterlife. Yeah, no spoilers. Anyway, it's good. It's sort of a bargain matinee material, but I enjoyed it. It's in theaters right now. Okay, let's move on. King Richard is next on the docket. Determined almost to the point of obsession, Richard Williams pushed his young daughters, Venus and Serena, those girls, to strive for greatness, and they grew up to become history-making tennis champions. This features Will Smith's appropriately dominant characterization of Williams. King Richard is an unfussy, really even-handed look at a flawed but really canny man as he rises above economic hardship in his rough-and-tumble Southern California hometown of Compton, and ignores all the naysayers in order to give his athletically gifted daughters, Venus and Serena, a chance to realize the potential that he sees in them. As it happens, actually, Williams fathered 5 children with his first wife, but King Richard, which is directed in a straightforward manner by Ronaldo Marcus Green, suggests the man's devotion to his second family, while making it clear that his number one priority is the well-being of his budding tennis phenoms. That drive to achieve Williams' master plan for the sisters is at the heart of Smith's performance in King Richard, and it seems to be reflected in the willing sacrifices endured by their mother, Williams' second wife, Brandy, played by Ingenue Ellis, and by the camaraderie between the girls and their 3 stepsisters. Although you may question Williams' motives and methods after watching King Richard, it leaves little doubt that he fostered the unprecedented barrier-breaking, record-setting success of 2 black sisters in what was always thought of as a sport for the white and well-to-do. The girls who play the Williams sisters, by the way, Sanaya Sidney and Demise Singleton, are pretty likable and believable, and it's really good to see John Bernthal of The Walking Dead and The Punisher as their pro tennis coach. And, solid stuff. I think going to get a lot of awards buzz. King Richard in theaters and on HBO Max right now. Let's see here. What else is on for the weekend? Oh, yes. One of the best films I've seen this year. Are you ready? Power of the Dog. Benedict Cumberbatch has some serious range, such as his work on the modern Sherlock Holmes TV show via BBC, Sherlock as Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme in the Marvel movies, and not to mention the Parade's End and Patrick Melrose miniseries. But over the past month, he's pulled off a couple truly masterful and radically different performances. First as the mentally challenged but prodigious Victorian-era artist Louis Wain in the biopic The Electrical Life of Louis Wain, and now as a bitter, hardened, yet charismatic and fiercely intelligent cattle rancher in The Power of the Dog. This is the latest movie from celebrated Aussie director Jane Campion, and it hits bullseyes aplenty, and it really looks like a shoe-in for Best Picture and Best Acting nominations this winter. The movie is set on the Montana frontier in 1925, so it's kind of interesting to see the occasional automobile on the scene. But in any case, rugged outdoorsman Phil, Cumberbatch's character, and his soft-hearted, gregarious brother George, played by the seemingly omnipresent Jesse Plemons, have a very successful ranch operation that becomes ground zero for turmoil and relationship angst when George marries genteel single mother Rose. So Phil deems Rose an intrusion into his simple macho world, and Rose's quiet, artsy teenage son is considered somewhat effete by Phil and his band of roughneck cowboys and ranch hands, and these guys do their best to torment the boy. Kirsten Dunst, who is actually Plemons' partner in real life, she's incredible as a woman trying to protect her offspring while caught between the brothers at odds. Cody Smith-McPhee is quite good as the son, and there are noted actors in smaller roles such as Thomasine McKenzie, one of the leads from Last Night in Soho, and Francis Conroy from 6 Feet Under. The Power of the Dog, adapted by Campion from the Thomas Savage 1967 novel, is a gloriously shot, boldly themed, beautifully paced, slow burn that will tear you up if you ride along. It's in theaters and also on Netflix. All right, we hear a lot about feel-good movies, but what about feel-okay movies like Come On, Come On? This is the latest from screenwriter-director Mike Mills, the man whose previous movies include the very fine and intimate dramedies 20th Century Women and Beginners. And like those other features, Come On, Come On deals with a changing family dynamic. In this case, Johnny, an aimless radio journalist played by Joaquin Phoenix with a bit of offhand pique and a well of tenderness, is saddled with watching over his idiosyncratic nephew for a number of days when Johnny's sister, the boy's mother, has to deal with a mental breakdown suffered by her estranged partner, the boy's father. So uncle and nephew go on the road where the joys and tensions of togetherness while traveling could bring them closer or damage them to the point of tearing the family apart. The chemistry between Phoenix and his young co-star Woody Norman, pretty wonderful, as is the black and white cinematography that lends an appropriate cinema verite vibe. Gabby Hoffman is good as Johnny's sister. Even though Come On, Come On can seem slight and sort of mundane at times, it never fails to feel real and grounded when its central duo interact. It's a charmer. Come On is in theaters. Let's see here. We have a little room for one or two more, I think. Since Belfast is a couple of weeks in the theaters already, you may think of it as old news, but it's really pretty great stuff. Smacking of autobiography and recalling memorable memoir-infused kid's eye view movies like John Boorman's Hope and Glory and Francois Truffaut's The 400 Blows. Screenwriter, director, and, of course, classically trained actor Kenneth Branagh plums his childhood in the strife-torn northern Irish town of Belfast for this loving movie as the troubles erupt around 9-year-old Buddy's mixed Catholic and Protestant neighborhood in the late 1960s. We see his parents, the rest of his family, and their friends in the community try to survive the violence while shielding the kids. Young Jude Hill is a scruffy, likable natural as Buddy, and he's surrounded by some serious acting talent. Kaitrona Balfe as Ma, Jamie Dornan as Pa, Kieran Hines as Grandpa, and Dame Judi Dench as Granny. The black and white cinematography lends veracity to the period evocation, and despite his latter-day lunacy, the music of Irish blues rocker Van Morrison provides an appropriate soundtrack. I'm not surprised that Branagh didn't include one of his recent numbers. Didn't he do "Don't Get the Vaccine and Let Them All Die"? Anyway, that probably wouldn't have worked, although it doesn't reinvent the wheel, and we've seen things like it before. Belfast's well-crafted, history-minded peek at a child and his loved ones confronting turmoil and bigotry, pretty much a sure shot for nominations again as awards season ramps up. It's only in theaters. And we'll close out here with Tick, Tick, Boom. Andrew Garfield, just in the eyes of Tammy Faye, one of the stars of The Social Network, typically impressive here as the lead actor in Tick, Tick, Boom. And he's downright a revelation as a singer in this movie version of the onstage autobiographical musical review by the late Jonathan Larson. In case the name doesn't resonate, Larson created the innovative, long-running, and socially potent Broadway sensation Rent, which brought a blend of rock and conventional pop to new heights on the Great White Way. Tick, Tick, Boom tells the story of composer Larson's struggle to break into musical theater production while living the bohemian lifestyle he would go on to portray in Rent. It's about the struggle to release himself from the bonds of poverty, a struggle to release his dream of Broadway success to the world, and his relationships with his girlfriend Susan, his best buddies since childhood, his mentors, his agent, and various arty companions and diner co-workers at the renowned Lower Manhattan eatery, the Moon Dance Diner. One production number snowballs into an actual who's who of living legends of Broadway, illustrating how much they all revered Larson and respect the film's director, Lin-Manuel Miranda. Yeah, that Lin-Manuel Miranda, who does a fine job of making this mix of theater piece and dramatic recreation hang together. Larson's struggle, beautifully realized by Garfield, is engaging and quite moving, and the songs are lovely and or whimsical. And as a bonus, there's a wonderful cast of singing actors, including Vanessa Hudgens as an up-and-coming theater kid, Alexandra Shipp as Susan, Judith Light as Larson's agent, and Bradley Whitford as Stephen Sondheim. Losing Larson too soon was a tragedy, yet the evergreen Rent and Tick, Tick, Boom guarantee that his art endures. It's also, by the way, on Netflix. What have y'all been watching, buddy?
What we're watching, and it's a real treat, is the second season of The Great.
Gosh.
Yeah. And it is wonderful. It is just, it's funny, it's very good.
Beautifully appointed, a fantastic performance by Elle Fanning as Catherine the Great, and good Lord, I'm not saying that she's eclipsed her sister Dakota Fanning, but when Dakota Fanning showed up on the scene as a child actor, everybody was like, whoa. And then the younger sister shows up, and she basically laps Dakota. She's just, I don't think The Great Series 1 got enough love, and I hope people tune into it and check it out.
I think it got one of the either Golden Globes or one of the Emmy Awards.
Nicholas Hoult plays, the Emperor.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's callow and feckless and very, very funny. And, the guy who plays the Master on Doctor Who these days is also in the court in this thing. And he's also pretty damn good. I loved it. I can't wait to watch. I haven't watched yet. I'm glad you're on board.
Yeah, I've also been watching Doctor Who this year. It's terrible. Just terrible.
Get ready for a sea change.
I know, but I don't care about that. I have to deal with this now, and it is just absolutely terrible. It is.
I think the show, Russell Davies, who brought the show back to life in the mid-2000s, is coming back as showrunner for, I guess, the 60th anniversary of the show. But is that right? I think the 60th, maybe. In any event, Chris Chibnall, the guy who's current showrunner, I think he's kind of the problem. He was really terrific in terms of Broadchurch, which he did a great job on, but I never really liked his scripts for Doctor Who. But there you go.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just horrendous this year. And a couple other disappointments. Doom Patrol was a disappointment this year.
Series 3 didn't work for you.
It didn't work for me. But I love Titans. Titans is a terrific show. Just terrific. So, anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you on the Titans. I haven't watched Series 3 of Doom Patrol yet, but I'm excited for Hawkeye on Disney Plus. It's coming up soon, and, I'm glad to check in with you, buddy. You can check me out.
Also on Disney Plus, you're forgetting the big thing. The Jackson thing on the Beatles, where he took
Peter Jackson's Get Back. It's dropping, I guess, Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, all the footage that wasn't used in Let It Be, the movie. They did about 59 hours worth of film left, and he's turned it into a real, what appears to be just a stunning documentary. So,
and let's point out that he and his crew at Weta have been masterful at refurbishing old footage and making it look high-def sharp. So you're going to see the Beatles in their youth as you've never seen them before.
Yep. Anyway, so that's our little gathering for today. Tell them where they can find you, Michael.
I am on Twitter at Culture Blaster, and on Facebook at Michael Snyder's Culture Blast page, and on GABNet with Alex Bennett and the gang.
And if everybody sticks around, there's more GABNet coming right up. Thanks, Michael.
You bet.